for leading this very important effort. I want to be very clear. What President Biden is proposing here is as close to policy from Communist China that we've seen in the United States. In oppressive regimes like Cuba and Communist China, we've come to expect a surveillance state where the government has access to every part of a person's life. Now, Joe Biden wants to bring that here to America. Let me explain what the Biden administration and Democrats in Washington are proposing. Democrats want to open your bank account to federal agents. Under Joe Biden's America, the federal government's authority would be vastly expanded so the IRS could get a look at any account over $600. The madness doesn't stop there. This new rule from Joe Biden would also require banks to report every transaction of $600 or more. And does anyone honestly think the federal government will keep your private information safe? Want to buy a bed? Here comes the federal government. Let's say you want to buy a new shotgun. Hunting season's coming up. Again, here comes the feds. How about giving money to your favorite charity, supporting a cause or a political candidate you care about, paying for child care, or paying for mental health counseling? Perhaps you're just selling off some old furniture and want to put your profits in a savings account. For every one of these transactions I've just described, the government is going to come take a look. Every American should be disgusted and furious by this insane overreach of the federal government. Think about the private, personal information the government would have access to. It's incredibly intrusive, and Joe Biden wants to make it nearly limitless. And again, does anyone honestly think the federal government will keep your private information safe? I know Florida families are angry. I've heard from more than 18,000 constituents over just the last 2 weeks about how disgusted they are with this plan. Biden wants to expand the surveillance state of the federal government to target every American family. 95% of American households have a bank account, and this policy will have impacts on every single one of those account holders. But it's not just banks. Joe Biden is expanding his federal surveillance state to monitor your finances across the board. They'll be watching your local credit union, your PayPal and Venmo accounts. They'll even be watching to see how you spend and earn cryptocurrency. Mr. President, this is an outrageous violation of Americans' privacy. I think the Democrats are also hearing from their constituents. We've seen reports in the press that the Democrats in the House are looking at raising the threshold from $600 to $10,000. That will still hit many American families. We're not just talking about checking accounts. This applies to savings, retirement, investment accounts. You name it, the feds want to take a look. Again, I'm not describing something in Cuba or Communist China. I'm talking about what Joe Biden and the Democrats want to do right here in the USA. I can't wait for my Democrat colleague to explain why President Biden is even proposing this. How can you possibly justify to the American people that the IRS should be snooping around in their bank, retirement, or investment accounts? There's only one explanation, and it's simply terrifying. The Democrats want to control how you spend your money. Democrats want to control your expenditures, your charitable and political giving, and your investments. The more power Democrats can grab from American families, the more control they think they'll get over each and every American. This all boils down to Joe Biden and the radical left bringing the American people under the thumb of his socialist tax and spend agenda. And after all, how else is he going to be able to squeeze every last penny out of Americans' families' bank accounts to pay for his socialist plans? Here's how the Democrat Party works. They refuse to audit our federal agencies that year after year send billions in improper payments to the wrong people, which they rarely ever recover. They refuse to hold our government accountable for reckless waste and massive debt. But they want to put the magnifying glass on hardworking families who are just trying to live their dreams. Under Biden's socialist regime, it's rules for thee, but not for me. How is that different from Communist China, where the government elite live in opulence while their citizens live totally dependent on the government and poverty? I will not stand for this outrageous plan. No American should tolerate this unprecedented overreach. I'm proud to support Senator Tuberville's legislation and hope every one of my colleagues looks at this for what it is, Communist China-style totalitarian surveillance. I yield back to Senator Tuberville.
Mr. President.
Senator from Alabama.